sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
I just choked down chocolate chip cookies and Grandpa's femur. Femur.
We make money now?
No, we had to pay
So
them.
this episode, it's just too slippery. I'm slicing everything.
Every time I swing my 5-iron, it goes up that guy's ass.
Welcome to the Sad Dads Club podcast. Here's your host, Jim and Foo.
Anyway,
We ready to start this?
speaking of, nipples.
Lasagna?
Right.
Well, welcome.
100.
Woo. Who? Can you believe it? If you would have told me when we started this journey, was it about a year and a half ago,
Yeah.
that we would be recording our 100th episodic show of this podcast, would you? If someone told me that, I would be like, "Yeah, you're full of shit." Would you believe it?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. If
can't-
I was being honest, probably not.
I don't think that we have that much wind in us.
Right. Right. And I saw you had posted a tweet, and then it was like 100th episodes, and I couldn't tell if it was like in jest or not, but it was like, now it gets real, or now it's real.
Those guys are just fucking around.
I'm like,
they're very frequent tweeter guys.
Yeah.
They're
like,
they show up in our feed a lot.
I don't know. But that's not really.
Well, that's why I said my co-host makes it easy
to
have.
I think I saw that.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of comments on it, and it was down in the.
Was it?
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, 100 shows, 100-hour plus shows, literally.
That's
right?
good stuff.
Yeah.
I think what's and even though they may not have been serious, we've done a couple little leaps for us, as far as the merch store and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important, as some of the other stuff that we've talked about in prior episodes, like maintaining, positive outlook, whatnot, to also stay thirsty, to try and always keep.
Oh, you don't mean like with my hydro flask?
Not with your hydro flask,
okay.
and hashtag not to keep drinking your water, zombie. It's easy to get in like a rut.
Yeah.
And I don't mean rut necessarily in what we've been doing as a bad thing. It's like when you get to we were just on a workflow, like with Ingress. We would do a thing. It was like that, and that was our social whatnot. And then we've transitioned it into this, and it feels good. But also, I think if you get complacent and you don't find a way to either grow in what you're doing and having fun at, then really, I mean, what are you getting out of it? Well, and outside of the talking, and this is always enjoyable, but I think if we're to ever progress and do better or break new ground, I think you have to find a way to stay thirsty.
Yeah.
And I'll admit that it's hard in the current circumstances that we're in.
Yeah.
As I think if you wind this back to probably November, December of last year, we were cranking like the lyric things.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had spare time, and those were always enjoyable. Like the quick clips.
Yeah,
that's what they were.
The quick
clips, where we would take 20 to 30 seconds and then tweet it out. It was like that was like I was thirsty for that. It's like, but that took a chunk a day.
Considerable effort.
Right.
Yeah.
And while I didn't see it as a burden, the place that we're at now, where everything is like compressed, there's a loss of time for self projects, because it just seems like everything else is shared. Much.
You obviously aren't talking to my wife.
Right. Yeah.
Because there's no lack of time for self projects.
Right.
At my house.
So it's weird. It's so the thirst is there, but I find myself constantly confronting a lack of time.
Mm-hmm.
And the free time that I do have, I'll fully admit, it's like I just need to unwind and change my position, whether that's been sitting all day.
Yes.
That may be I just go to the couch, and even though I don't necessarily enjoy like vegetating, I need to change my posture.
Mm-hmm.
Like I need to not be sitting on my ass.
Well, that's the thing. Like you're working all day out of your house, and then this is what happens to me. So it's like today I've sat in the desk chair all day working on stuff.
Right.
And then we'll come here and do the show, and then after the show, we'll go back and I sit back in that desk chair for like an hour and put the show together and post it. I'm not complaining about that. I've chosen to do that. I enjoy that.
Right.
But there is some of that, like, I have done this all day already. I'm sitting in this chair again.
Right.
And, you know.
Yeah, it's a juggle. And I'll admit, like, you know, or oftentimes what I'll do is I'll sit in the chair and if I know I get buried in a project, like, because it's so, what am I looking for? Contagious. Like when I sit down inside and start working on like a quick clip or something, especially Final Cut, where I'm looking at I've been staring at trying to make like a montage of all the cameras from the ride. That becomes like I don't care about that I've been sitting for hours on end, but in the back of my mind, it's like you need to move.
Yeah,
because I enjoy. There's so much that I don't know, and I make so many mistakes that to try and do a simple task that I have in my mind requires an hour, if not 2 hours, of like YouTube tutorial videos that I have to primer for, and in order to try. Oh no, that wasn't what I wanted. I fucked that one up. So it's difficult. So in finding a pastime right now that allows you to find a break, and so, but this 100 episodes in, at least this part is like. This is icing on the cake. It's easy. It's easy peasy.
Yeah, the comment that we had about, this is where it gets tough. It's like,
Well, this part is not.
I have a co-host that makes this easy. We make it easy on each other.
This is the cake,
yeah.
and I love this part.
Yeah,
I would love to do a lot more, but it's like, man, I struggle to find that time. And I saw something today too. I can't remember where I saw it, but it was someone that was basically saying, like, there's an overt, like, too much positivity is almost a detriment to the people who are struggling to try and find a way to make it through struggle. It's like everything
to become positive,
right? Everything isn't fine.
Yeah.
There are struggles, and sometimes you have to fight through them, or at least acknowledge them, because just saying it'll be okay, everything is fine, kind of absolves the accountability and the risk of acknowledging I have to put effort into something to make it better or make me better. I'm like, I hadn't really thought about that, but it resonated because it's like, I get nothing about passing out, it'll be fine. I seem to find myself lately preaching more like, how can I help you get through whatever it is that you're struggling with, because hopefully that will make things better. But to say everything is fine is not.
Complacency is tough to overcome.
Right.
Challenging yourself is difficult. This is definitely one of those projects where it's like, we talked about it, like, before we started doing this project. Let's do a podcast. Oh yeah, cool. And
right.
We were gung ho, and then we started doing it, and we didn't realize what we were getting into, or what challenges would lie ahead, or what kind of things would happen. But it's that thing where you're like, we can do this.
Yeah.
We have the ability to do this.
Right.
And we've proven that we can do it.
Yeah.
I think
and there are
stepping
people,
outside your comfort zone.
And there are people that do what we do with even less.
Yes.
So
yep.
I encourage 100 episodes in.
Yeah.
If you are, and it's something that neither of us had any experience in doing.
Yeah.
Especially if my kids listen to this when they're older and some sort of hindsight thing. Or if you're a young person listening to this, hopefully you have your parents' approval. I encourage you to always press the bounds of something that you think would interest you, but you're not quite sure if you will do well at it. Just try it.
Yeah.
Try it.
I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily that we are this huge success.
No.
We have listeners, and I'm happy for that for sure.
Right.
We do this because we like to.
Right.
We do this because we think people might want to listen.
Right.
And also we want to be porn stars. Right. Or wait.
Right. Well, that makes it awkward because I was going to mention Argonaut's daughter. But
oh God.
Because him and Jenny.
Yeah.
Hashtag both of them when they get this far. Had mentioned that I think his youngest daughter had an interest in doing stuff.
Yeah.
And the COVID, and that was at the tail end of the year, and I think we had made like we'll try and get your daughter here to at least talk with her or show her the stuff that we have and how we do what we do, because when I see him approach us with something like that, like the next generation under us, it's like she's that person.
Yeah.
She's that person that has like an itch.
She has the interest.
Right.
Yeah.
And whatever experience that we can offer at the low tier, right? Being honest, that we can offer, that maybe she's the next super mega content creator.
Yeah.
Because she certainly, whatever she could take from us to repurpose into her shtick, whatever it may be, and make it better, and she just takes off. That was maybe when we started the YouTube, I can't remember who it was. It might have been Philip DeFranco. I saw a Philip DeFranco show where he had this 8-year-old on, and all this 8-year-old did was open toys.
Oh, okay.
And hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. His YouTube channel was like unboxing toys, and like an 8-year-old giving his review on toys.
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
I can only imagine if one of Jason's daughters is so entertaining and has so much charisma that she has something ready to go.
That's simple.
That's or she's got something that's so pink that she blows up.
Yeah.
Like, man, I as soon as this blows over, I feel like I need to make good on that. Like, we need to get your daughter in here and show her what we know, what we've got so far.
Yeah.
Because as much entertainment as I get out of this, that I hope you get out of this, this is to infinity for me.
Well,
like, I have no reason to stop.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of those days of the week I look forward to. Like, I get excited for Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Podcast night. It's like, woohoo. I mean, it's a thing. Like, at my house, everybody knows it's podcast night, and like dinner is around making sure I'm here for podcast. Yeah. I mean, it's podcast night. So, here's what we're doing for dinner every Wednesday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it's when I'm leaving, my wife's like, have a good show, and it's like a whole thing, and it's like, it's fun, and I enjoy it.
It's an interesting medium that I don't think I had given much thought to, because I'm more at the time before we started, I was more YouTube, so like a visual
vlogging
thing.
I think was more
right.
Like you and I know we had watched a lot of vlog style.
Yes.
And to be honest, like, to the difference in the medium between, I don't know how somebody could do that. especially a daily vlog. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think that takes a different type of personality than I am.
Yeah.
And I certainly couldn't have a full-time job and do that.
Well, this is the other thing, too, is some people could get away with it because they have, like, lives that are changing every single day. And
right.
My life, it would be...
I'm not in the suck like that. That's not my kind of tornado.
A vlog of me would be pretty boring every damn day.
Like today, well... I was raking leaves again.
I'm wearing a different shirt.
Yeah, I filled up the green waste can again. Anyway.
I'm scheduling a shower today.
But I think the COVID in particular has pushed certainly like distance social integration in a different way. Like Xander over the weekend. Xander, his cousins, hashtag hi Kim and Brett, Carrie and Jadzia, 2 younger cousins. I think they just turned 8. Fuck me if I got that wrong. I'm so sorry.
Some family member you are.
Right, I know. Well, they probably don't remember me anyway. They know Xander by heart. And I'll be perfectly honest, and I'm not shading it, because when we went over there, I can't remember, we went to drop something. Oh, we had to drop off birthday presents.
Uh-huh.
So we drive up. Venus got out. She dropped it on the porch. And this is hilarious and sad all at the same time. So we dropped it off the porch. Venus comes back to the car. We stayed in the car. Happy birthday and whatnot. They came out and they stood on their lawn. And all they really gave 2 shits about was, hi, Xander. Hi, Xander. Xander, what are you doing today? Xander is their hero.
Okay.
And what made it awkward and sad
just because he's just old enough.
I don't think they knew Piper.
Oh, really?
They like, Xander, hi, Xander, hi.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, and it was like...
Piper's like, fuck
oh, wow.
you, man.
Piper's like, wow, that stings a little bit. And we've made funny ha-has about it. But it was like, they love Xander.
I did see her being a little bit
She's
upset.
like, oh, wow. Oh,
I see where I
like,
rate.
does that sting, sweetie? She's like, just a little bit.
Yeah.
And I went, don't worry about it. They, heroes are heroes.
Yeah.
So we had been meaning to get them together on Zoom. So over the weekend, Kim and Venus had rigged up Xander. Let's do a Zoom meeting. Now it meant we had to unjack Xander from playing some Roblox something. But he did it, and he didn't care. I mean, he was obviously a little bit hurt at the beginning because we made him take a break.
Right.
But we're like, just put a little bit of time in here. They love you so much, and you can, once you're,
you
done
can tell them all about your Roblox.
Right. I'm like, show them what to draw. They just want to hang out with their cousin, and they love you so much. So he's having this, and they're laughing, and he's making jokes, and I walked past his room, and they're having a good time, and 5 minutes turns into 10 minutes. Somewhere about 10-minute mark, I go and I grab the Baby Yoda, and I kind of look at Xander, and he kind of gives me an eye, and I said, I gave him like the shush motion.
Yeah.
And so I crawled into his room behind his chair, and I start peeking the Baby Yoda up behind his shoulder. And the girls, God, it was just awesome. It was an awesome moment. The girls are just like, baby, they're freaking the fuck out. Baby Yoda's behind you. Baby Yoda. And Xander, he's hamming it up perfectly. He's just like, what? And he'd look behind it, and I'd drop it. And they're like, he's gone. And then I pop it up on his other shoulder. And they're like, oh, my God, a fucking baby. Oh, everybody's rolling.
That's
I'm having a
funny.
hard time not laughing out loud
Right.
on my chest, laying on the floor. And he's just hamming it up. And they're having a good time. He's having a good time. And I leave the room. He left. He came out like 5 minutes later. And he's like, I need Baby Yoda.
Oh, my God.
I need Baby Yoda again. I'm like, I'll bring it back in. So we had another bout of like Baby Yoda's hiding behind him again. Everyone's having a good time. And so these little things, if you can find something, and we told him, I said, you're their hero. I said, as long as you're having a good time, trust me, the payouts for this down the road will be more than you think it's remotely inconvenient. He's like, I had fun. I'm like, whatever you need to make this right next weekend, if you not make it right, that was the wrong words. If you want to do this next weekend too, we will make sure we set up a time. He's like, it was totally fun. Like we talked about that, because they share the same Pokemon stuff. They have the same things.
I would imagine too, they're probably a little starved for some like human interaction.
Right, and that was it too. We just cut it clean with them. We're like, they're quarantining, and you're quarantining. I said, I'm pretty sure until they get logged in with their new classes in new school, I said, you're the first person that they probably had a 15+ minute conversation with, near-ish their age group, and it's probably stellar, to them. Yeah. I said, you can only talk to mom and dad for so long and listen to sad dad jokes and, whatever mommy's watching. Right. And eventually you want someone else near your age bracket talking Pokemon with you. And he fully gets it. He had a great time. I'm like, fucking this weekend we'll do it again. But, and we're having to do the same thing as adults. I think Saturday we're doing like a Zoom because, I love you. Yeah. But it would be nice to see Sarah and Will and the rest of the crew. Yeah, we were talking
even
about if it's just virtual. It's like fucking why not? Let's use some of the tools and just
it feels weird, but it
does, but I think that's just an adjustment we have to make. Like the kids at school so far haven't had a problem. Like, they're making do. It's like I would rather see someone digitally and make crass jokes,
Well, it's weird because it's like, when was the last time we were able to go to the West House, which is a bar here in town, and just hang out with everybody? I mean, it's been,
February?
Yeah. 7 months or 8 months or something.
Probably.
It's been a long time. And we were doing that every couple of months.
At least.
Yeah.
I think we would try and have at least one thing a month.
Yeah.
I think last couple were skipping a month or so, but.
It's crazy, man.
We had to have fucking Dragon, buy a new house in order to get a remote amount of social interaction.
That's true.
I almost said sexual, and that would have been weird.
Sorry, Dragon.
Hey, baby. How you doing? How's that tumor working out?
That's weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
Especially mentioned with the sexual thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
What? Anyway.
You said it, man.
Yeah. What? Shit. Hashtag I love your wife? What happened there?
I don't know. I'm much confused.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It's been interesting, too. My wife is, she's a teacher's aide. And so, she's in a teacher's aide for a special ed class. And so they've been sort of switching off, like going into class and working at home. So she worked at home one day, and then she was in class for a couple days, and then today she was in class, so she actually had to give a couple lessons over Zoom.
Right.
And it was just weird because I'm at my desk that I've been sitting at for months now. Right. And now she's working from the table, and she's doing lessons. Today's number is 1.
Right.
We're going to learn how to draw 1. A 1, you draw from the top to the bottom, and then you're done. That's a 1. And I'm just like sitting there kind of chuckling to myself like, wow.
All right.
Though this is what you do at school all
This
day.
is the shit. Yeah. All right, here we go.
And I feel like her teacher, I think it's her teacher, is sort of super sensitive to making sure that the aides and stuff continue to get paid. To continue to be employed because they've kind of made it clear, like, you can be laid off.
Right.
Right. So the teacher has really put a lot on them as far as preparation and stuff like that to make sure they're actively involved in the teaching process with the kids. And I don't know how much that happens with other teachers or other classes
Right.
or whatever, but they've been pretty active. She's been putting in more time right now, at least, than I think she did during normal school hours.
Really?
Yeah, school time.
Well, that's,
So it's kind of interesting to see that. And it's like, I'll get up, be done for my day. And what are you doing? Oh, I'm working on this lesson thing.
lesson plan first.
And it's like almost 5 o'clock. And I'm like, what is happening right now? You know what I mean?
Magic.
Yeah, you're not getting paid for full-time work.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It's so I think I did. It was a Snapchat. But there was the
Oh, yeah.
the garage space here. I think we had talked a ways back how it always seems like, you put something in the yard or you do a yard project and you're like behind.
Please call it by the real name now.
The
studio.
The studio.
The Sad Dad's Clip Studio.
It always seems like once you get to the completion of it, you're behind. Like there was like the little play area for the kids that they seemed to outgrow the structure that you'd built.
The half an hour after it got built.
Right.
Yeah.
And no one ever used it.
Yeah.
A lot of yard projects seem to work that way here.
Mm-hmm.
The IKEA hangers and the curtains that were intended for this, that were intended for the recording, have paid out because now the kids, where it was ad hoc for the remainder of last year's school year as to like how they were getting PE. I don't think Piper had it, but Xander did. Yeah. And so we would go out into the road here in the cul-de-sac and we would high knees and whatnot and we would be done.
Play dodge cars.
Right. Whatever. I could use some of the cones that I bought for Piper's driver training and we would just set things up and try and... Anyway, it was a mess. Not really. But now it's structured. So in the heat, it's not very conducive, but they're doing video conferencing while Xander does his PE. Mm-hmm. So he's not doing it outside. He can't go too far out into the thing. So this space in having the curtains is the perfect space for him to do his PE.
It's double...
right. It double works.
Yeah.
And then it came to pass that Piper, she's taking dance. So it was like, well, how are you going to do dance? Well, the same... That's not all that different. They are actually like, she is required to have her Chromebook recording her do whatever. So the first day she had class, it was like an orientation and like expectations, blah, 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 blah. But the next day, it was... the teacher had an expectation of you're going to set up your Chromebook with your camera facing you, roll out a yoga mat, and we're going to be doing stretches and poses and this, that, and the other thing, and like cardio stuff. And I need to be able to see you. Yeah. I would rather her in here, but it was like, again, it's so fucking hot outside.
Oh my God.
That you wouldn't necessarily want the kids outside in the straight sun anyway. Yeah. So the curtains afford her a place where she can actually do her class in here. Now it's like, oh, fuck. And this morning, she actually her and Xander had like a rollover where he had his PE started with 15 minutes of her having left in dance. So last night, I'm like, so is there any conflict? She's like, well, I have dance to blah, 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 blah. And Xander was like, I have PE from here to here. And I went, so do you know how that's going to work in the garage? Because obviously you don't want your brother walking through your... Like, I'm doing PE! Yeah. And you don't want your camera filming him doing fucking jumping jacks and shit. Yeah. So last night, we came in here and we like set up 2 positions where Xander could work against this, and she was working against here, but she didn't realize that the curtains closed over here or hadn't paid attention to it in the past. Yeah. So Piper's camera faced this way towards the workbench. Yeah. Because when the curtains aren't closed, she's like, well, my teacher couldn't see me because the sun. The glare. And I went, oh, well, don't worry about that because we'll close the curtains. And it was like, oh. So now your brother isn't in your camera shot, and you aren't in your younger brother's camera shot, who probably have a bunch of young preteens, like, Yeah. It was like, this project the studio.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, the studio
There you
has
go.
put me ahead of the curve for things that I didn't even know I needed.
Well, it's funny because we were talking about this. I said, there's a lot of things that we have implemented in the house that have just worked very well for a time where you have to be at home a lot. And I'm drawing a blank, but there was like several things that like I put in the house. It wasn't like a necessity at the time, and it was like like considering
that
we're
worked.
home all and I'm drawing a blank on what those things were right now, but we've had this discussion several times over the last couple of months. Like, it's kind of nice
having that.
We didn't need it. I
Right.
bought it because it was cool or whatever. I got
Right.
it because I thought it was cool. But look at that, we're using it all the time now. You know.
Yeah.
I think one of them was just recently we got a new Epson printer. That's the one that has the tanks in it instead of the refillable tanks rather than the tanks that you buy and put in them.
Right.
And so that way you can buy the big bottle of ink and just fill it back up. Well, we hadn't been using the printer very much, and it used to be like anytime Chandler needed something printed for school, which wasn't very often, Melanie would come home from school and need to print a bunch of crap, and we always needed the printer. Well, the printer's jets would dry up because the printer hadn't
Been used.
Right. And so it got to the point where it's like I couldn't clean it. It wouldn't come clean, so we'll just get a new printer. And I'm going to get one with the tank instead of having to buy
the toners.
the cartridges. Well, we hadn't used it that much, and now that Shanna's working from home, I mean, I've seen 150 pages print out of that thing in the last couple days.
Yeah.
Just going nuts. And it's like the tanks haven't even barely gone down.
Wow.
And I'm like, well, that's one of the things. It's like, well, it'd be nice to have that. You know, we need to print something every once in a while.
Right.
And
I might have to get that printer because we just had to replace cyan. $100 for the fucking cartridge.
For an inkjet printer or
laser?
Laser printers are expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cyan, $100.
Brutal.
Fuck me.
Yeah. What brand was it?
HP.
Yeah.
I went,
laser cartridges are expensive.
yeah.
Because I was like, well, you can get a decently priced color laser printer, you know,
Right.
but it's the same thing. You're going to pay through the nose for the laser
Once it goes
cartridges.
deep, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck me. Are you serious? She's like,
They're great printers,
what
though.
yeah,
Yeah.
I have no complaints
Yeah.
until it runs out of fucking toner. No complaints.
It's like the fucking filter on my fridge. Whenever that thing empties, it's like $45
yeah.
to put a new pure filter in it. You know what I mean? It's like, really?
Really?
And it seems like it goes really fast. Like, I just replaced that motherfucker, and it's
I need
telling
to
me
put something else in line so it doesn't tank out
another filter in front of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something cheap.
Something that's easy to replace. But it's on a timer, so it just goes based on how much water gets pushed through it.
Oh.
And so it runs X number of gallons at some point, and then the fridge goes, you need to replace it soon. So the yellow light comes on, and then eventually the red light comes on, and then we just like fill
reset
up
it.
we look at it. Yeah, we reset it.
Yeah.
And we go,
yeah.
all right, one more time. And
Yeah.
then and then it goes again, and it's like you're filling up the water, looking at it, just going, fuck you, man.
Yeah.
$45.
What? I can get more out of this. Yeah. And then by the time you replace it, it feels like a lead weight. And you're like,
it's practically drizzling out.
Wow.
Yeah.
I probably should have replaced that a little bit ago.
Yeah. But it's the same
But at
thing.
$45, I'm going to reset this button 3 times at least.
I mean, it's not like Kenmore was going, well, the fridge is $100, but every time you replace the filter, it's $300.
We'll get them there.
But still, $45 when it's like every, 4 to 6 months or something. You're like, Jesus, man, I just put one in there.
Yeah. Well, it probably doesn't tell us a bunch of good things about our water.
I don't think we have terrible water here. They do a pretty good job, I think, in the city of Roseville. But
what the fuck is it filtering out then? That it's
extra
burning through it.
Well, like I said,
6 months.
It's not that I don't think it's that the filter is getting, like, there's so much crap in the water that it's getting clogged up necessarily. I mean, But I think the fridge just has literally a timer on it and how much water goes through it.
So it filters it and holds it in a tank?
No, it's just as it uses it to fill the ice machine, or as it has like it's like a odometer, right, for water, or a meter, and it just counts how many rotations of the meter, and eventually it goes, oh, it's getting close. We've had X number of gallons, because it's the kind of fridge where you can go, I need 12 ounces of water, and then hit the button. It'll fill up 12 ounces or a cup or whatever. Oh. So it knows how much water's coming out, and it just measures how much water, how X number of gallons probably is time to replace, and then finally it's like, replace, and that seems to happen way too quick. So, but it's like one of those things, like printer cartridges. They make all their money on freaking printer cartridges and laser, what do you call them? Toner. Yeah. Cartridges. And on those, it's even better, because guess what? You've got 4 of them, right? CMYK?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got 4 laser cartridges. So if you had to replace all 4 at once.
Yeah, she was like at Office Depot or something. She's like, it's 360 something for
all 4 of them?
The 3
colors.
For
the CMYs?
Yeah. She's like, what are we out of all 3 colors? And I went, fucking hold on a second. I'm going to check, because wow.
That would be brutal.
So I go to the printer, print it out, and it's like, yeah, cyan was under 10%, but yellow was up at 60, and
you don't need to replace that.
The red was higher, and I went, no, fucking
just get the cyan.
Just get cyan until I can figure out what I'm going to do about when I need.
Well, have you priced them out like on Amazon and shit?
Not in a while.
Oh, okay.
But when the 2 other colors go out at the same time, that's $200.
Yeah.
At that point, I will be.
You can get a printer for $200.
To like, well, this is dumb.
Yeah.
At $200, for $100 more, I can buy one that's going to come with all of the toners.
Yeah.
And like we've said prior shows, like that seems like a stupid way to.
That's a lame business model.
Right. Yeah. I would be generating e-waste.
Yes.
Gratuitously.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well, we got rid of an entire printer scanner all in one thing just because the heads were clogged. It's like, and I even pulled them out and like cleaned them and put them back in.
Yeah.
And I still couldn't get it to work. And I'm like, it's fucked up. Yeah. We need a new printer. I don't know.
I got nothing.
I guess. And then plus it's like every time you wanted to replace a tank, it was $30. And it's like, and it had 5 or 6 cartridges, because there's 2 colors of gray and a black.
Yeah.
Or no, 2 blacks and 2 gray, and then all the colors. And it's like, I mean, it does a beautiful job when it prints. This Canon, whatever it was a Canon.
Yeah.
They make incredible looking prints if you're using photo paper and like printing photos and all the heads work.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And all of them work.
Yeah. But not at the cost of the ink. It seems like every time it clogs, you're like wasting ink to clean the heads, and then you've wasted half of a tank cleaning the heads, and then now you got to go spend another $30.
Right. Yeah.
Fuck that, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck that. So then we saw the tank one, and we're like, that fits the bill.
That'll do.
Yeah. And then the little bottles of thing are like $20. That's worth it.
God,
for a bottle.
I really like the color laser though.
Yeah, they're awesome.
But I don't like $100 toners.
At a previous work, we used a Xerox color laser writer, and we used that to print like just about print shop quality, like printer. Like we used to have jobs sent down to a printer to have like business cards and stuff like that.
Shit.
No, like Commerce Printing in Sacramento. We would have them print like all of our big jobs and stuff for like manual covers for software and like business cards and data sheets and stuff like that on a glossy card. We could do all that with the color laser printer. The only difference was the color laser printer couldn't print to the edge of the paper, so we would print our data sheets on them and then go and take them to Kinko's or somewhere and have them trimmed. They would trim off like 1/4 inch all the way around. But those things it looked like it came out of the printer. It was beautiful. They do a good job. I was impressed. They have another one that's instead of a laser, it's a laser printer, but instead of using a cartridge, it uses like a wax color, and the wax sits in a tray, and it like melts it, and then that's what it uses to print. What are you looking at?
Hey, I was wondering who was walking up. Oh, hey.
Happy 100.
What did you call me?
Old.
Right in the middle of the show.
I know.
I mean, look at you, even with the nice.
Yeah, stare at this camera or this camera. There it is.
Nice. Well, if you want to support the show, you can do like Mike did and pick up one of our
and bring us Ginger Elizabeth.
One of our
chocolate.
Wear the Mask Sad Dads Club face masks. Hi guys. Thanks for coming by.
Okay. Wait, what? Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, that was a nice interruption.
Yeah.
Did you not know that was them?
No. I saw someone coming up like, I'm like, is someone fucking with Venus's Explorer? What the fuck's going on? Because on the Ring, I don't know if you've been checking your Ring. Like, the people have been doing the whole coming up into driveways and checking door handles.
Oh, yeah.
And getting into cars that have, and it's happening down here along Baseline.
Oh, okay.
Baseline.
Probably because it's easy to get away.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But there's been a handful of those things like all happening, so that's why she's parked right here, so I can see the Ring camera.
Okay.
So I saw them walk behind the Explorer,
and you're like,
and then dip up a bit, and then I lost them behind your big curtain.
You would think if it was somebody trying to do that shit, they would hear us in here talking,
right?
And they'd be like, "We're out.
Right.
We're not.
Right. Or I didn't halfway know because the one neighbor, I think I sent it a hangout. The one neighbor caught Venus at the mailboxes, and she's like, "So I have to ask, what are the guys doing in the garage?"
Well, what did she think we were doing? Did she say?
No.
Oh, okay.
But and I can only relay, but Venus was just like, they do a podcast. She's like, oh, okay. But, it's not like we're in here wrestling.
I'm just thinking, what in her mind?
Right. But, and then she said we were funny. So I it's like, well, there's a blind spot behind you. So now I'm halfway wondering how many people like stop when they're walking their dogs, because I've seen that happen.
I kind of feel like we should turn the table so we can both kind of see out there.
Right.
Mike could just sneak up behind me with his mask on. I would have no idea who the fuck he was.
You'd be dead.
I just, and then.
He would make you dead.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something Chandler and I used to do. Sometimes we still do, but we would always joke that you get shrung. You ever heard of that? We ever talk about that?
Shring. Yeah,
shring and your arm's gone. Or we would talk like shring around the gut, and then all your guts would come out. It makes a sound.
Right.
Yeah. That's shring. You get shrung.
We used to have a
shring. Your arm's gone.
When I worked at PC Solutions in Auburn.
Yeah.
The former Marine. That was the network, and if you get here, Tony Frawley, hashtag hi Grant, he would, his like running shtick, God, he was an asshole, but his running shtick was that he would kill you in the sleep.
Oh, okay.
And the last sound that you would make would be of the blood coming from your throat as he
gurgling,
slit your throat.
Yeah, as you breathe out.
The last thing you're ever going to say is because you'll
That's brilliant.
Yeah, and it was just like, what? And he was also famous for because we were all in our 20s. We're right next to Wienerworks. So he would walk in after being off-site or on-site somewhere else, setting up networks, and he would come in and he would walk into the back where we were all putting PCs together or some shit, and he would pull out his wallet, and he'd have like a 20 spot or something, and he'd go, "I buy, you fly." And one of us young bucks who were just jonesing for a fucking full cup of diabetes soda would like, "What do you want, Tony?" And we would run over to Wienerworks and come back with like 64-ounce fucking sodas
and their giant fries.
Yeah, and oh my god, dude! But that was his thing. He'd come back, "I buy, you fly."
Yeah,
and we would like, yes, sir. And we'd run our asses.
Free drink?
Yeah.
Woohoo!
What? I
Yeah.
can barely make my rent, and this guy's going to buy me fucking French fries. You know, kind of.
Back at the pizzeria, there's this guy named Ian Duncan that worked for us, and the guy was fucking hilarious. And he would always, him and I would always joke around. One of these days, you're gonna wake up dead.
And like the Italian?
Yeah. Hey, one of these days, you're gonna wake up dead.
You know, you may find yourself making a fucking pizza, and then you'll be dead.
You're gonna go to bed, but then in the morning when you wake up, you're fucking dead.
You wouldn't even know.
Yeah, you just wake up and be there, dead already.
Like, is that my alarm clock, or am I dead?
Exactly.
And you'll realize you're dead.
You're dead because you're not awake. So
It wasn't even your alarm clock.
hey,
You're
Fitty,
dead.
Fitty, make sure he wakes up dead tomorrow.
Yeah. Whatever.
What's that show that's on? I started watching it the other night. The show that's on Netflix. It's like the show about New York City and all the mobsters on Netflix. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh, it's called like something City, but it's awesome. It's awesome. It's being promoted like on the homepage of Netflix right now. Yeah, and it's pretty good, but it's all about all the 5 big families of New York during the 70s when they like ran the city.
Oh, so it's like a semi-documentary.
It's a documentary film or series rather. Pretty cool, man. How they brought these guys down because they were untouchable the way they had their organizations made up.
Yeah.
They couldn't get to like the mid bosses or the bosses, and it's impressive. The FBI was like, we don't know what to do. You know, they would arrest all these guys for doing petty things.
Right.
But they could never get to the bosses.
Up high, high ranks.
But they ended up getting, it was really cool. They ended up getting enough evidence that they got wiretap abilities, warrants. And then they have a guy who, they called him the black bag guy. And he would disguise himself as like a cable guy or a phone guy, and they would create issues with whoever's phone, like whatever boss it was. They would create issues on the cable or the phone because cable was new then,
right?
And then he would go in and like fuck around with the equipment and drop like a listening device in it, and that's how they got all this evidence against them. Yeah, it was impressive.
Wow.
But anyway, if you get a chance, watch it. It's really cool.
Mob.
No, it's
Something City.
Yeah, it's something City. It's like based on the name of what they called New York City back in the 70s.
Oh.
But really cool show. I have to look it up.
We caught and I think Grant had mentioned this. I think it was just in a hangout. Hashtag hi Grant again. Netflix had like a low key published Transformers series that was more anime. And Xander and I ripped through that. I think now that he's a little bit, what is it?
Fear City.
Yeah. Now that he's a little bit older, he started to like a lot of the Transformer stuff. He started to like get the bug. Because we ripped through.
Yeah.
It's different because most of the voice actors for the Netflix series are not the ones from the cartoon when we were kids or from the movie.
Right.
The Michael Bay's. So it's I would dare say Transformers purist. It's a little like I wish
hard to hear.
I wish Peter Cullen was doing Optimus, but he's not. The guy that's doing it is not terrible.
It's just not the same.
But it's just one of those things where it's like when I hear Optimus, I hear Peter Cullen.
Yeah.
Like Barnett.
Yeah. The way he talks.
Yeah. It was really well done. Both of us are excited for season 2. And then that took us into my second watch through of Lost in Space.
I started watching that, and it was I think it was when the pandemic hit. I would go on my walk at lunch, and I would come back and chill for like 20 minutes and watch. And I was watching that show.
Yeah.
And it was like, go home right?
Right.
And then it was like, I forgot I was even watching that show till you just mentioned. I was like, oh shit, I still have shows left on that.
It was, I think we started season 1 like well before the pandemic. Like I tried to get to see if he would be interested in watching something that I'd watched that wasn't too gory or not gory, but he seems to have like he doesn't really like to be scared like me.
Like a tolerance thing?
Right. So it was like this sci-fi-ish, maybe this will whet his appetite into something that he would watch with me kind of thing. Yeah. We went through it. I think the whole family of us watched like the first episode. Piper bounced. She just didn't seem to be interested. He seemed to be interested, but then this whole thing happened. I think it was just off to the side. It wasn't important.
Yeah.
As we started roping back into cutting off time for tablets and computers and whatnot, I'm like, well, if you want to watch Lost in Space, I'll watch an episode with you, and then we'll, time for bed. He's like, all right, if that's how I have to get my fix, of digital stuff, I guess I'll watch something with Dad.
Dad-sponsored time.
Right.
Right. Watching TV.
That's his workaround. And I'm fine with that because he's just sitting there with me, and it's good times.
Yeah.
And then we ended up, I think, over one weekend, 2 or 3 weeks back, we had binged like a good chunk of season 1. I think they're 10 or 11 episodes, but we had ripped through probably 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep going, well, I keep telling you someone's gonna die.
Yeah.
And if someone gets put in a perilous situation or something, I'm like, see, I told you I told you someone was going to die. And so I had this reoccurring shtick that every time there was like a cliffhanger moment with some character in some weird situation, I'm like, told you someone was going to die. But no one has obviously died.
Right.
But that doesn't stop the dad joke. And he's like, heavy eye roll. But we got through season 1, and he was immediately interested in picking up season 2. So we had also just finished season 2.
I want to say I was somewhere in season 2.
It's really good. I really enjoyed it. I can't say I caught any of the original series, and I couldn't tell you any of the actors' names off the top of my head.
Isn't Lost in Space the one with the robot? The like
Will
clear...
Robinson.
Yeah.
I did enjoy the movie.
I don't think I
with
watched
Gary Oldman was the Dr. Smith. Matt LeBlanc from Friends was Don West. William Hurt. Lacey. I
didn't watch it.
Lacey Chabert was Penny, and a couple of the two. Heather Graham was Judy, the oldest daughter. Judy. I was trying to remember if that was actually her name.
Oh.
Judy, Penny, and Will. I don't remember the mom's name, but William Hurt. I mean, it was a fairly large-ish cast.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, but I don't think it did well in theaters. Had a couple reasonably good soundtrack tracks.
Yeah.
That are good, like high tempo. So I wasn't like a buff, but I enjoyed the Netflix series.
The Netflix series is good,
and it's they're expected to have one more season, and it's out, so it's 3 and out.
Oh, okay.
For them, so it's not like something else.
So I would assume by the last Lost in Space season 3, the last show, they'll be not lost anymore.
I would hope. I can't think if it's like I don't know if it's like Gilligan's Island where they're always lost somewhere.
Yeah.
From a story perspective, I mean, obviously, if you're selling books or you're selling a reoccurring TV series, that's your struggle,
right?
To get close, but not
never
quite.
Get off. Yeah.
But maybe because they have a finite season.
Wasn't it? Aren't they all dead?
Yeah, well, someone's going to die.
Like in Lost?
Right. And, her dad's dead. Everybody's dead.
Everybody's dead. They're all in purgatory or something?
The robot dies. Everybody dies.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I did that, too.
Make him start watching Lost, dude.
Right. Oh, my God. No.
You're going to sit here and watch these fucking 9 seasons of Lost.
I hadn't watched it yet. God, this is so funny. I think I was at my sister's on Christmas, what would be 2 years back? 1 year back. I'm at my sister's for Christmas. Brett and Kim are there. And Brett, my brother, is mentioning to me, like, have you seen these? The Lost in Space? It's like, and I'm like, I haven't caught it. And he's like, it's really good. You should pay attention. And Kim says something like, she made a joke about how people were upset, conservative people were upset or confused-ish about the package of the robot when it's in its human form. It's very intense.
Yes.
Like when you get a full body shot of the robot and you see
very
below
imposing.
you see below his torso.
Oh, down there.
His junk
his genitalia.
Formidable. His like plating.
Okay. So they were unhappy about that.
Right. And Kim's like, have you seen like, oh yeah, there's a big old thing about the robot's junk and how out there it is.
They got Ron Jeremy in there. They got to make room.
Yeah, my brother was just like, I don't really see that at all. I don't really know. But I hadn't seen it. And I think I had, after the Christmas thing, I went and looked. I'm like, fine, I'm going to start watching this. But I had looked up a couple pictures like, the robot, like what's the big deal? And yeah, dude, the way that the scales and the plating works for the robot, he has got this huge package.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's huge.
That's where they keep the brains.
Right.
Yeah.
That's where he interfaces with shit. So we were somewhere in the middle of season 1.
Is that like his R2D2 probe?
Yeah. That's like yeah, dial phone home on this thing, baby. I had said something. I was looking at
this face.
Xander had a question about something, and it got me pulling up pictures of the robot, and I went, I'm going to see where this one goes. I'm going to see where my son's humor is at. And I went, Xander. He's like, yeah. I said, next time the robot's on the screen, try not to look at his junk.
Oh, no.
And he went, what? And I went,
why would I do that?
What? And I went, never mind then. And he's pushing a car or something, the robot, and he turns around and he's like starts walking towards
full
Will,
frontal.
And it's full frontal. And Xander looks at me and he goes, "Oh God!" And I went, "Yes, yes."
He would have never probably said a word.
Never have cared
until you planted
until
that seed.
Gave it.
And then he's like,
I pushed him right to the edge. And And then every scene,
sad son.
Sad son for sure. Every scene the robot is on from there forward, they go up to the thing and they're stacking rocks on shit. And you know, when I know that a scene's coming up with full, I'm like looking at him like, am I going to get another win here?
Here it comes.
Yeah, and then he sees it. He looks back to me, and I'm already looking at him, and I'm like, huh? How you like that? That's weird, isn't it? And he's like, God, Dad.
You just ruined this whole show for me.
God. I'm like, why you keep looking at the robot's junk, dude? He's like, I can't not anymore, Dad. The fuck? Well, he's not saying that, but
he implied it.
Oh yeah, he knows. He's like, now you can't unsee the robot's huge ass wang.
They need to have a female version. I mean, just to offset.
I mean, it could be. I mean, it very well could be the world's longest and massive camel toe, for all I know.
Well, they need one with boobs, right?
Well, yeah, that would work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's formidable. I mean, it could be female. I mean, yeah, it could just be a really bad case of camel toe.
Well, I think that's probably the biggest disservice you could do to a robot in general is to give him a human form. And,
right.
You should make a robot based on how it needs to be used. But a human form is not necessarily the best use of
I mean, there are plenty of characters that have like codpiece. Master Chief from Halo has one, and you don't think he's got some huge ass wang. But the way that they contoured the scales of a spider creature into a humanoid form, they put plates to make this like 15-inch wang.
Now I'm going to have to look.
Now you look.
Yeah.
And you'll be like,
damn it, Jason.
Damn, that'll. Wow.
I didn't even know that was a thing, so now it's a problem.
Now you will.
Now I have to remember to forget. Just have to remember.
You can't. Anytime he's pushing something or stacking something or carrying something, you'll be like, robot dick.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Danger, Will Robinson. Indeed, sir. Indeed. So,
Will, you're probably not going to want to stand up or bend over right there, buddy.
Somewhere there is a USB-C port that is fucking hurting right now.
Well, I mean, even in the Star Wars series, like C-3PO, like the worst possible, I mean, I know what he's built for, but the worst possible kind of robot is, I mean, think about how kind of useless he is in his mobility and stuff. Yeah. As a robot. I mean, I know there's a person inside there, but as a robot, you would never build a robot that's supposed to be function for anything useful after a human. It just isn't the best way to do it.
It seems counterintuitive.
Yeah.
We're at time.
Oh.
But before we wrap up.
What is happening? Oh, he has left the building and now he has re-entered the building. What is happening right now? What? I'm a winner!
Happy 100 episodes, fucker.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
I don't know what I did to deserve that, but thank you.
You sat across from me.
Well, that's...
And you didn't catch a COVID, but you caught him.
Caught a mosquito. There's a couple of them in here.
Nailed it.
All right. Well,
anyway,
thank you.
You're welcome.
That was unnecessary.
Thank you for showing up for 100 shows.
Hey, no, thank you. You have, honestly,
more.
I couldn't thank you enough, so appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's wrap it up then.
We will catch you next week. Wash your hands.
Wash your ass.
Return the cart.
Wear the mask.
Register to vote and do the needful.
The list is growing.
Yeah, it's just never ending.
All right.
Catch you next week.
See you later.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, everybody.